psychiatrist and an author who has pioneered an innovative way at looking at customer behavior by examining unconscious codes in the brain. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. G. Clotaire Rapaille.
I don't believe what people say. I don't know about you, but I don't. Why do we buy mobile homes that never move? Why do we need a Hummer to go shopping? Why do we buy Ferraris when we cannot drive more than 35 miles per hour? So I don't believe what people say. I was trained, because part of my background is to work with autistic children, children that do not speak. And I had to try to understand these kids, and I was trying to cure them. And of course, they didn't speak, so I could not believe what they said. They didn't say anything. But I remember a little boy, I would give him his bowl of chocolate every morning. And he was like six-year-old, and he would look at me and take the bowl of chocolate and put it on his head and wait till the whole chocolate will fall on his face. You know, and so I always managed not to have the chocolate not too hot, of course. And every morning I would do that, give him his bowl of chocolate, and he will do that, the same thing. You know? And I will ask him, why? Why are you doing that? Of course, he will not tell me anything, right? One day I stopped giving him his chocolate. He got very mad. He wanted to be able to communicate with me. So I realized that I didn't want him to be so mad, so I have to give him back his chocolate, and he will do it again. And maybe what he was trying to tell me is that he had up to there about life. You know, about his parents, about his people trying to cure him. And so there is always an unconscious, hidden message behind what people do and what people say and how they function. And that's what I want to understand. I want to understand why my wife is still buying shoes when she has 500 pairs already. She says she needs these shoes. You need shoes? You have already 500 pairs of shoes? You know, I don't have 500 pairs of shoes. Well, you are men. Okay. All right, so obviously men and women are different. I don't know if you've already realized that, but it took me some time, but men and women are really different. I know it's not politically correct to say that, especially in America. We're not supposed to say that, right? So, but men and women are different. They don't buy the same way. They don't relate the same way to a shop. They don't go into a place the same way. You know, just, oh, well, be careful because you might go to a limit where this is not politically correct anymore. Well, wait a minute. Okay, I understand that we are equal work, equal pay, all right. But I tried several times to get pregnant, doesn't work. All right? So maybe we're equal, but not on that respect. So there are things that we can do and we do differently. So if I try to understand why, I have to take into account this different dimension that why do people do things? And one of the reasons I have to do that is that I want to understand why I'm here, for example, today. Why am I here today? You know? And I usually say it's because I'm a founding father. All right? Even if I speak kind of phony, all right? I'm a founding father. Why am I a founding father? Because I choose to become American. And at a certain time, I was imprinted by what it means to be American. And my mind was pre-organized already. I wanted to become American. That was it, you know? And so think about that. When you do things, when your customers do things, what is the reference system that has been imprinted at a very early age that they're not even aware of it anymore, and that they activate when they want to relate to that, when they want to buy this, when they want to do that. So, I know some of you know the story already, but some of you don't, so I want to tell you the story again. And because this is a key element for you to understand that we never get a second chance to have a first experience. Think about that, yeah? You never get a second chance to have a first experience. So think about what it means when you want to create with your customers this kind of connection. And you create this first experience with them. That's a very, very powerful moment. The first experience is very powerful because it creates the reference system. My first experience about America. And I wish a lot of people around the world would have the same experience that I had, but unfortunately it looks like today they have different kind of imprint. My first experience, I was born during the war. And my experience was that, you know, France was bilingual at the time. German were running the show, the French was trying to hide and survive. And I was a little boy, I didn't know better. That was the way the world was supposed to be, and that was fine. You know, I was able to survive. My father was prisoner. My grandfather was prisoner. Well, my grandfather escaped and recapture and escape and recapture and escape. And, okay, so I think fine. You know, he likes to play this game. It's fine. I have no idea that the world could be different. One day, for the first time in my life, I saw the German running away, throwing gun, helmet on the side of the road, stealing bicycle, and running away. Oh, I say the world is different today. What's going on here? I mean, this never happened before, you know. And then I was on the countryside with my mother. Suddenly a monster came out of the forest, you know. Was an American tank. I remember every detail, the smell, the color, the size, the noise, the white star. Everything has been imprinted in my mind forever. You know, and I look at this big monster and I say, wow, I understand why they're running away. They're afraid of the monster, right? Now the monster stopped in front of me and a big guy arrived and, you know, and the turret opened and then a guy with a helmet with a net and flowers, you know, with a very strange kind of guy, and he had a very strange accent. You know, the Germans speak like, hoin, hoin, hoin. This one might have been from Texas. You say, wow, 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 wow. It's a very strange noise. And the guy, you know, they put me on a tank, gave me chocolate and chewing gum, and took me for a ride. How can you beat that? That's why I'm here. And, you know, the power of this first imprint, of course, these guys, they had other things to do than just to take care of this little boy on the countryside in France, you know. And so they were going away, and I was waving goodbye, and they were waving goodbye. And one day, and I told myself, say, one day I'm going to be on this tank, you know. And that's it. My program was I wanted to become American. Doesn't matter what people will tell me after that. You know, for example, I went to school, and they told me, you know, General de Gaulle liberated France. I say, oh, really? He was not on the tank. So you see that at a certain time, you can tell me whatever you want. My imprint is there, and something is so strong that I want to understand that. So this creates a reference system. And after that, and I do believe, I know it's a big issue in America today, immigration. I mean, in America, we're all children of immigrants. You know, we're all coming here, and we have a contribution to make. And this is very important what I'm going to tell you about retail, because we have a mission there. We have something to do here to address this real need to contribute. Each culture should contribute to a global world. So we're going to speak about that a little bit more after that. But we're all children of immigrants. And it's very important to understand how we can contribute and how we can. I do believe that people that risk their lives to become American, somewhere are already American. I was American before becoming American. It's very clear for me, you know. And I never had any doubt that one day, I remember I had a dream because I was going to, you know, watch Westerns, movies, you know, cowboy movies every Wednesday when I was a kid. And I had a dream that one day I will be in California on my horse, you know, riding toward the sunset. You know, it was a dream, right? And I spent 7 years in Los Angeles, didn't like it too much, but that's another story. And I played polo on Sunset at the Will Rogers Polo Park. And one night I was driving back my horses to the stables, and it was, you know, sunset, it was the end of the day. And then I stop and I say, wait a minute, that's my horse, this is California, this is the sunset. Wow, I made it. I didn't realize, you know, and this program was there in my mind, and unconsciously I was doing it. So that's one of the things I want to share with you. We have to understand what is this program. And to access this program, there is a code. That's the big idea. It's like you have a door and you want to open the door. If you have the number but not the right order of these numbers, you're not going to open the door. I study seduction. L'Oreal paid me to study seduction in 8 different cultures. I couldn't believe I was paid to do that. I mean, that was too good to be true. I said, wow, I'm so lucky. Anyway, and so this is so interesting that if you, and I'm sure some of you come from different cultures, you know, you do something, you say something, and in one culture, turns off. And people say, hey, where are you? And other people say, yes, more. Wow. The same thing. So you better understand that. What is it? And if you want to please and seduce and attract your customer, you have to understand these codes. These codes are very different, right? And there are expectations that are very different. I was invited, and I want to thank my friends from Turkey here. I was invited in Istanbul to speak at a big conference over there. And I love Istanbul. Istanbul is great. Please, if you have a chance, go to Istanbul. It's a fantastic place. But I was expecting Turkish coffee. You know, so I went to a store, I went to shop, and you know, the Turkish hospitality for me is such a powerful. I arrived there, they never offered me Turkish coffee. I was very disappointed. I said, what happened to Turkish coffee? Oh, we don't drink Turkish coffee anymore. I said, what? What? This is just for foreigners. And what? I mean, it's like they're losing something. You know, it's like New York without hot dogs in the street. I mean, what will be that? This is not New York anymore. So there is something we have to preserve. It's something very important, something we have been programmed and that we want. I'm working with GM. I've been working with them for a long time. Unfortunately, if you know the code for GM, it's the Soviet Union. That's GM. Bureaucracy, numbers. They believe the numbers. So they say, oh, we know what people want. Say, you sure? Yeah, we know what they want. Suddenly, they realize now that what they want is people want an identity. If you ask people, what do you want in a car? Oh, I want good gas mileage. Not true. I want good price. Don't care. I mean, that's what they say. I don't believe what people say, right? But what I discovered, the code was that people are tired of generic cars. You know, they told me, you see the car from the distance, you don't know what it is. The car arrives closer, you still don't know what it is. The car is right here, you still don't know what it is. You have to read the name, say, what is this kind of car? It's ridiculous. So they say, give me a Mustang that looks like a Mustang. Give me a Cadillac that looks like a Cadillac. Huh? Give me a car that really, I mean, I can know the identity, right? And that's why we did the PT Cruiser. I'm sure some of you know the PT Cruiser. That's my baby. I'm very proud father of the PT Cruiser. We sold 1.3 million of these cars. Why? Because we discovered the reference system and the code that people can relate to. Right? So in the world of generic cars, we created the gangster car. Al Capone. Wow. Huh? And when you see the PT Cruiser, you know it's a PT Cruiser. But beside that, there is a dimension that is very important. Is that to understand the code, you have to understand the reptilian brain. And my theory is that the reptilian always win. Let me explain that. We have three brains. You're born with a reptilian, which is very important because worldwide we all have the same reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is reproduction and survival. Huh? So we program to survive. Then the second brain is the limbic. And the limbic is emotion. And we learned that essentially from mothers and women. That's why men don't really understand what's going on there. Right? But women understand that. And so mothers have a very special relationship. And my first imprint of love is the same as yours. I spent 9 months inside, as more or less most of you, right? Now, inside, fantastic. If you remember, 9 months inside, and we do remember, by the way, we can train little cats, and they condition before their birth, and when they're born, they remember the training. So we remember, not the way we remember what so people say just before me or what you watch on television, but we remember. So I do remember. Room service, fantastic. Air conditioning, always working fine. Free transportation. Disco music, all the time. Boom, 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 boom. Why do you believe teenagers go underground in a small dark place to listen to boom, 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 boom? They've been imprinted like that. All right. So fine. Okay. So I remember that. And my mother loved me. She loved me. She was a great woman. She loved me. One day she said, out. What did I do wrong? Out. Did I make a mistake or something? Out. Can I stay a little longer? No. Out. Can I come back once in a while? No. Out. Why are you doing that to me? Because I love you. Uh-oh. Our first imprint of love is not simple. And if you experience that once again in your life, you know, people that say, women that say she loves you and she say, get out. I mean, this is happen all the time, right? So this is because we have been imprinted like that. You know, the limbic brain is nothing is simple. Do you want your customer to love you and never buy your product? Do you want your customer to hate you and always buy your product? It's not that simple. So if you think that one goes with the other, we don't know. That's why women understand better this crazy world that we don't. You know, my experience of shopping with my wife is just incredible. I mean, this is just, we don't shop the same way. We just don't relate to the world the same way. You know, if you want to look at the man as a box, you know, if a man is a box, there is one switch, on, off. That's it. That's a man. A box, on, off. It's done. Very easy to understand. Food, on, off. Beer, on, off. Sex, on, off. I mean, just on, off. This is simple. By the way, women know the code. They know the code very well. All right, no problem. All right. A woman, you have a box, and there's so many, on, off, maybe, come back later, I don't know. There's a light going on once in a while, we don't know what for. There's a drawer here, there's another box behind, I mean, you got the picture. We have no idea what is going on there. We have no idea what is going on there, you know. And this is very important because most of your customers are women. Most of the CEOs I deal with are men. Got the disconnect here? Or they say, oh, we know what women want. Yes, do you know? First-hand experience or what? They have no idea what women want, you know. So they say, oh, they want technology. Technology? Yeah, you heard about technology. We want technology. Give me more technology. I don't think so. You have to translate this technology. And what I do is that I go back to what is the reference system that people want, what is the thing that has been imprinted. Women want magic. Magic. Oh, what is that? Well, I just got a car recently, and there is a key. I have the key in my pocket. I walk toward the car. I don't do anything. Cling, the doors open, the engine start. I didn't do anything. I have the key in my pocket that is sending some signal to the car, and the car is doing all that. I love it. If you call that technology, that's the kind of technology I want. But if you give me a tool, something with numbers and punching and little thing that I can't even put my fingers on, you know, that, and then I have to punch 300 things to get something done there, what is this? After a while, I mean, I have seen so many people that want to really crush and destroy the things. Interesting. Frustration is so high. You should come with a hammer. You should sell the technology with a hammer, like this, when you feel... That's how people feel. So, you know, it's like Kodak. Kodak is, for me, a great company that can invent great products that only Kodak engineers want to buy. You know, who cares about it? It's like the BMW 7 Series. I mean, you need to take 1 week training program just to be able to turn on the engine. I mean, ridiculous. We just go to hell. I mean, this may be good for engineers, but we don't care that. All right? So we need to understand what people really want. And they want the magic. Technology should be magic. I want to walk into a room and the light goes on. Oh, sure, that I don't have to worry about stuff, you know. So I want a technology that can read my mind. That would be fantastic, you know. So think about what technology could do with airports. Oh, airports. I hate airports. They've been designed by mentally retarded engineers. I mean, how dumb can that be? I mean, can you be dumber than that? I don't think so. I mean, we should make an Oscar for how dumb these things are, right? Now, this is where technology is needed. This is where we need to understand the customers. We need to understand how people want to relate to these places. Huh? And so all that is the fault of the third brain. You know, first one is the reptilian, second one is the limbic, and the third one is the cortex. The problem is that we all have been trained to be so good with the cortex. So the cortex is logic, rational, what makes sense, numbers, statistics. We're so good at that. Huh? And the result is that we believe what people say. So you know the classic things in questions. We have scientific answers to wrong questions. You know, this kind of question. When do you stop beating your wife? You know, so this is not a question. This is, oh, we assume that you beat your, but if you didn't, so how do you answer to this question? So, you know, when we say, do you prefer this product or this product, we're already inducing. I never do that. I never believe what people say. I want to go back to what is the big reference system. Just to give you an example. Recently, I've done work for Tylenol. Tylenol, painkiller, painkiller, all right? Now, think about that. This is America. No pain, no gain. You want painkiller? So no gain. Wait a minute, what do you say here? Oh, I'm just listening to American culture. What is the code? No pain, no gain, right? And so Tylenol told me the painkiller is a product for old people. Old people. We want to attract the young people. You know, the guy that danced before that. We want to attract this kind of people, right? And I have, you know, 3 boys. And one is a teenager, and he's in extreme everything. I don't know if you have some teenagers in your life, but, you know, extreme everything, right? Now he doesn't want a painkiller. What do they want? They want to be able to snowboard, surf, skate, whatever it is. And of course it hurts, right? And at a certain time, it hurts so much that they cannot do it anymore. So the code for the new Tylenol is back into action. That's it. Not painkiller. Give me something that I can go back into action. Even if I have pain, I can wear my pain like a badge. Hey, yes. You remember the Karate Kid? The Karate Kid at the end. Beautiful archetype, the Karate Kid, right? Michel is hurting. He's really hurting. Miyagi comes, do some magics, and he goes back to fight with a lot of pain. Wow, we like it. So this is, again, reading. If you ask people, do you want pain? Nobody's going to tell you, yes, I want pain. They're not going to tell you that. But the code is back into action. So we have to understand these motivations are very different from one person to another. I want to give you another example that is very reptilian. And it helps to understand why the reptilian always win. At a certain time in my life, I wanted to do something to contribute, to give back to America. And I chose to do some work on teenage pregnancy. I was very concerned that in America we have one of the highest rate of teenage pregnancy in the world, and something is wrong here. And so I started working, getting some sponsors, and Johnson & Johnson helped me with that. And then what we discovered is that everybody was thinking sex. Very simple, logical, cortex way to look at that. Say no to sex, no more teenage pregnancy. Well, guess what? Teenage pregnancy has nothing to do with sex. Now you're going to tell me, of course, you need to, sure, but it's not the point. The motivation is not sex. There is another motivation, another reason why. Why? That's the key question I want to understand. Why? So what I discovered, and I went to inner city all over the United States, I found a mother of 3. She was 14. The 3 fathers were dead. They were different fathers, dead by drive-by shooting. She was 14 and she told me, you know, I might be dead next year. Before I die, I want another baby. Not a child, a baby, right? I got a grandmother, she was 20. 20-year-old grandmother. She had the first child, she was 9, and she has a 9-year-old that she's pregnant and has a child, right? And so what I realized that these kids, the more chance they had to get killed, the more chance they had to get pregnant. Wow. Suddenly, this is nothing to do with sex. It's to do with chance to get killed. And so at Johnson & Johnson, we immediately went to the computer and looked for correlation that we never thought about looking at before. Correlation between chances to get killed and chances to get pregnant. Worldwide, Holland, lowest chance to get killed, lowest chance to get pregnant. Inner city Washington, higher chance to get killed, higher chance to get pregnant. Everything in between correlated. Then once we know the code, action plan, what does it mean? We have to give a life expectancy to these kids. And we start taking a group of teenagers, girls, and giving them a 6-month project. They're going to build a house where they're going to be able to learn things. And so we start giving them, you know, we had a chart, 6 months. First month we're going to do that, second month we're going to do that, third month, and they could see it every day. They could see the progress for the next 6 months. During the 6 months, we reduced teenage pregnancy by 30%. Boom. Wow. And so this is, going against the traditional cortex way to look at things and say, oh, this is sex, just say no to sex. I mean, for example, some people say, give them condoms. I mean, come on, they can buy bazooka, they can buy machine guns made in Russia, they can buy condoms if they want to. I mean, this is not the point. But the point was, we didn't understand the reason why. So understanding this notion of why we do what we do is absolutely crucial. Now, I don't believe that people go shopping to buy a product. So you are trying to sell products. Products is not the goal. The product is an alibi. So give them the good alibi, but understand why they're going there, right? I mean, my wife doesn't need another pair of shoes. No way, right? But why she is buying so many shoes? There is something else here about shoes that is fascinating. I want to tell you about shoes a little bit, because I think it's a fascinating subject. The reptilian side of shoes. All right. What is the program for men? I'm speaking biology here. I'm sorry if I'm not politically correct or if I'm a little bit too graphic. I'm just speaking biology. The biological program is that I want my genes to be reproduced. I want to have as many children as possible because that's how we're all here, because our parents did it and so on. So my program is I want to get the best woman for my gene to be reproduced, right? And I don't know why, but sometimes, wow, I want this woman. Sometimes, that's it. What is the program here, right? All right. Now, we don't believe what people say. So we took groups of people around the planet, men, and we put them electrodes. Let's suppose in the head, like this is more politically correct. They're excited, they're not excited. Boom, boom, right? So electrodes, men, they're excited, and we show them pictures of women. And we try to understand which one get which one get Right? That's it, very simple. You cannot argue, you cannot tell me you disagree. Now, All right. Now we show them, and I'm going to give you the code for E. Interesting. What is the code that get E? 0.7. 0.7 is the code. What does it mean? This is the proportion between the hip and the waist. Hip and waist. Did you read this article about GM discovering hips for cars? They're trying to make hips to cars, because cars like that, interesting. So when you show a woman with a body shape like this, when you show a woman with a body shape, the hourglass, wow. Why do you think the Egyptian invented corset? Not the French, Egyptian 5,000 years ago. Now, why do we get excited, we guys get excited when we have a woman like this? Because the hips, place for my baby to grow inside, and whoop, food for the baby when the baby is, great, place to grow, and food, fantastic, right? I never saw a guy getting E because of a nice elbow. Forget it. So we are programmed this way. This is nothing right or wrong. This is the way the program is. By the way, we speak a lot about fat in America, right? Fat has nothing to do with the picture. Large women like this, so it's not fat that is a problem. It's fat distribution. If you want to invent a fantastic product, some kind of food that was directly at the right place. You eat and boom, wow. Fantastic, So it's not fat, it's fat distribution. It's a very different situation here. Now, another thing that is important too is to understand that even the emotional level, we have to understand the emotional connection with people. And even things like love, we need to have a special code for love. I found a tribe in the Eskimo country and so on, where when a woman is in love, she received a program for a mother that tells her, my daughter, if you want to be a good daughter and you want your mother to be proud of you, let me tell you what means love. When you are in love, you always at least in love with 3 men at the same time. If you can be in love with 5 men, that's real love, I'm so proud of you. But if you are in love with only 1 man, shame of you, and don't come back home. Well, Interesting. Why that? Because in that culture, in that place, if you're in love with one man and you marry one man, you're never going to make it through winter. You just die. You need at least 3 men to take care of you. One to build the igloo, the other one to go fishing, the other one to take care. So the culture have institutionalized the survival dimension that you need, and they call that polyandria, which means you marry the 3 guys. Now, if you have 5 men, this is even better. You're going to marry the 5 men, all right? So, I mean, some of you have done that already, maybe, I don't know. But it works. It works in that environment. Now, what is very important is that we have to be very careful that when we say love, we believe that this is love natural way. It should be worldwide. It is not worldwide. A culture is a survival kit inherited at birth that you receive. You know, men and women, when they have a child, there's a program, and the program makes that usually you have a little human being. It's very rare that you have a bird, a fish, an alligator, or something. But when an American man and an American woman have a child, they usually have a little American, right? But there is no real program, no chromosome there. So how do you transmit that? And you transmit that by what I call the CNA. The CNA is a cultural nucleic archetype. You transmit 3 dimensions. Life is movement. If you're rigid, you're dead, right? Life is movement. How can you describe movement? By time, space, and energy. How much time does it take to go from here to Boston? So the distance, space, the time, and the energy, how much gas you're going to put in your car. Then you can describe going from here to Boston. So every culture can be understood between time, space, and energy. I want you to pay attention in your store, in the mall, in the supermarket, about these 3 dimensions, time, space, energy. They vary completely. Recently, I went around the world shopping because you stimulate my thinking, and so I wanted to have something to tell you here today. And I went to shop in Kuala Lumpur, I went to shop in Istanbul, I went to shop in Singapore, I went to Shanghai, I went to Beijing. I mean, it's amazing. I went to Paris and Frankfurt. And I look at time and space and energy, completely different. So think about time and space in your store. Let me give you the CNA for the American culture, and then I will compare with the Japanese culture to show you how different it is. I used to live in Geneva when I was working with my autistic children. In Geneva, I take my car, 5 minutes, I drive to Annemasse, and I'm in France, and I can go shopping in France. 2 hours, boom, I'm in Germany. 3 hours, boom, I'm in Italy. You know, and I used to do that back and forth the same day. Okay. Then I came to America, rented a car in New York, and drove west. For 1 week, I was in America. 1 week. Every night, I could sleep in the same Holiday Inn with the same green, ugly carpet. I could eat the same salad with no taste. I mean, for 1 week. Wow. Notion of space is incredible here. If you remember Conquest of the West, you know, the sheriff draws a line, everybody get there ready, you rush and you grab a piece of land and it's yours. Never happened in Europe. You always have to kill the neighbors before you can do anything like that. Right? And we invade each other all the time in Europe. So that's why I don't think Europe will ever exist in our lifetime. That's another story, because I know the code over there. I don't think Europe is going to, anyway, other story there. So the notion of space is very important. We have space. That's why we cannot make any profit with small cars. These people in Detroit try to make profit with small cars are never going to make it. When you see a company that say they're going to make profit with small car, sell your shares. Get out. They're never going to do it. All right. Why? Because they only make profit with big cars. I mean, do you want to cross for 1 week America in a little Pinto or a little Honda Civic? No way. You want a big wagon. You want a big, I mean, go to Texas. You see these people, they have Suburban that you, wow, 5 families can live in one of these. So it's just amazing, right? Okay. The notion of time. Time is very different. I remember the first time I watched a hockey game. At the end of the hockey, oh, this is history. What? 1 second you make history? Yes. This is America. In 1 second you can make history. In the rest of the world, it takes centuries to make history. You know, here we do it, done, finished, boom. No past. I mean, who cares about the past? I want a future. No past. All right, so that's notion of time. And then the notion of energy. Oh, I always study the way people practice medicine around the world. When we need 10 milligram of a drug, in America, let's put 50 milligrams just in case. Boom, I mean, 2 atomic bombs, not one, was not enough. 2, boom, boom, just in case. So this is the energy we want. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, let's shoot first, but with a bazooka, then we discuss, when we speak for. So it's quite amazing. Now, if you look to other cultures to see how different it is, in Japan, there is no space. No space. Right? So you want to minify everything. You can expect the Japanese to always make the same thing smaller, cheaper next year because there is no space. Even food is smaller. They say, of course there is not much, but it's so beautiful. When I came to America and I ordered something to eat, I got a plate. I say, wow, there is for 5 people here. This is not just for you. Wow. In Japan, you say, where is the food? Just like, all right. But it's so beautiful. Right, okay. So. Now, in Japan, for example, that there's a room, one room, and the whole family live in one room. So there is no furniture. The futon was invented because you take it at night, it becomes a bedroom, during the day. And the walls are made of paper, which means they don't have word for privacy. I mean, you go to the bathroom and you sneeze, and your neighbors 3 blocks away say, God bless you. So there is no real privacy there. It's just part of the culture. But they're very polite, because you have to be polite in that kind of environment. I don't know if you took the subway in Japan, but there is some guy that are paid to crush you inside, and you spend 2 hours with somebody else's elbows in your nose, and you're not supposed to mention it. So that's the way they call to be polite in Japan, right? Because of no space. Energy in Japan. Energy. There is a movie by a great movie director in Japan, and the movie is called Seppuke, or Harakiri. It's a story about a guy that is going to kill himself. Right. They love that. I don't know if you know that, but they use the internet for people to connect that want to kill themselves together. So there is a website saying, we want to come and kill himself with me. So let's have a party on Friday night. How many? 15 people. Okay, we're all going to kill ourselves, 15 people together. Yeah. All right, different culture. So energy. If you watch television in America, if during the first 5 seconds you don't have 5 people killed, you switch. We love violence. How many people? Oh, dead. Boom, another one. Then you stay. Oh, nobody is killed yet, so let's switch to another channel. Right? In Japan, it's completely different. This movie, at the beginning, nothing is happening. Then after a while, nothing is happening. It's a samurai that wants to kill himself. And he want this daimyo, a noble person, to be the host of his killing, of his self-killing, or whatever, suicide. And the guy knows that the samurai doesn't have any swords anymore. He has only wood sword because he sold already the blades. So to punish the samurai, he's going to say, well, you're going to kill yourself with your wooden sword. So the samurai is going to take his revenge. But anyway, the point is, during the whole movie, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. And so we get ready, we get the preparation, we have the ceremony, nothing. And 2 minutes before the end, suddenly the samurai takes a real sword, kills everybody. Wow! And then stop, relax, nothing. Done. That's the way Japanese negotiate. You go to see them, American arrive and say, okay, let's have a deal. What do you mean let's have a deal? Yes, let's start negotiating. Start negotiating. No, let's go for a walk in the garden. Why? Because this is springtime, let's enjoy the flowers. Hey, God, I'm at the hotel there, they charge me $1,000 a day. I mean, I want to go back home, I want to get a deal. No, let's enjoy the flowers. Nothing. And then you come back in winter and say, let's go and have a deal. No, let's go enjoy the snow. The snow is beautiful on top of all the trees. And I mean, but when they're ready, they do it. So GM say, Toyota, they're very slow. Look, they don't start. Yeah, but when they start, woo. Right? So American, we start. We always, I mean, this is amazing, as you know. We never read instruction. Doesn't matter what you buy, we never read instruction, right? So you buy something, a technology instruction, like, no time for that. So you want to do it. That's what happened with Iraq, right? We never read the instruction. So let's do it. What are you going to do? I don't know, but let's do it. Let's go. Where are you going? I don't know, but let's go, right? So this is quite amazing. I have a newsletter, and on my newsletter that I've been doing for 7 years now, I always quote all the things like that, all the things that people do without reading the instruction. It's amazing. There is a long list of that. It's just absolutely amazing. But the code of the culture helps you to understand that. So when you understand the space, the time, and the energy, in Japan, the notion of time, that was my third point. I mean, when your parents die in Japan, they stay around for 25 years to watch what you're doing. They call that quality control. You're controlled by your parents all the time. You see, this is it. So, and there's a little place where you put candles and food. And so the time, your action today is not just today, like history. You know, in America, now is now. Now is now. This is very clear. Huh? When I tell my kids do it now, I mean now, not in 2 hours, now. In Japan, now never means now. I work for the Boeing company to help them to create a team, and we are building the 787, the new aircraft, and 30% of the plane is built by Japanese. And American and Japanese have to work together, which is not very easy because they have different reference system, different code. Huh? And so understanding that, Americans say, okay, let's start now. The Japanese say, hi, don't move. So Americans say, okay, all right, let's start now. Hi. You're moving? No? So, when are you starting to? Well, the Japanese will tell me only the American can start doing something they don't know how to do. Different structure here. So if we go back to why people go shopping and what you have to understand here. First, I think that people are not going shopping to buy products. Products is the alibi. They're going shopping for another reason that you have to understand. What is it? When you are living in your little house, in your little apartment watching TV, you are disconnected with life. People go shopping to reconnect with life. This is very, very important. And when you go to a big supermarket, life is over there. You see the babies over here, you see the makeup for seduction, you see the food, you see the diapers for the old people. I mean, all these people are right there. Right? So you reconnect with life. And so we have to understand where life is going. For example, today, a big issue is menopause. Menopause is a big issue. What is that? Well, we have no idea what's going on here. Some women in the middle of their life still have half of their life in front of them. And we have no idea how they function. So we have to discover these people are going to have a lot of money and a completely different program. So we have to understand this program. Shopping malls are the next village. That's the village. We should have a center with a spiritual like a church. That's where people are going to get married. That's when people are going to want to have their baby. That's what people are going to live. You are creative alternative cities, not shopping malls. Stop thinking about retail like people buying things. This is the new center of life. I think you should be creating like universe city where they can connect with the universe, with all the cultures of the world. You have a mission here. I was in Kuala Lumpur, and I saw this woman. I could only see her eyes. She was all, like a black moving object. We call them black moving object. This black thing that with only two eyes. And next to her was a miniskirt with high heels. And these two women, so different, were in the same shop buying the same thing. That's the miracle that you guys can accomplish. People from all over the world, from different religions, they are together and they learn from each other. I call that the Marco Polo principle. Marco Polo principle, merchants, right? I just created a university. And the university is called Rapaille University, and old modesty, of course. And I'm going to teach people around the world the culture code, which is the title of my next book that will be in June, the culture code. I will teach culture code, the different code about what means loyalty, what means quality, what means French, what means German, Chinese, and so on. Because I think that you guys can change the world. I really believe that. I don't think politicians are going to change the world. We know that. They're not going to change the world. The bureaucrats are not going to change the world. Forget it. The NGO or whatever are not going. The activists are not going to change the world. The academics, forget it. I mean, they're just in the cortex. They're not going to change the world. Who is going to change the world? You. You can change the world because you are the merchant, you are the Marco Polo of the 21st century, the one that are opening the West, the one that are bringing things. As a symbol, I want to give you Venice. I love Venice, and Marco Polo was from Venice. And the first class of 2008 that will get the MBA, which is a Master of Business Archetype, Master of Business Archetype, from my university, will receive their diploma in Venice and will be called the Marco Polo class. Why? Because in Venice, you have these palaces. They call that palazzo, palaces. If you really look at the palace, the first floor is the store. They were merchants. That's where they put all the clothes and everything. And they were living on Piano Nobile, which is the first floor that was supposed to be very elegant. So they were just living above the store. And that's how the nobility was created. And so you are the new nobility of the 21st century. You live on top of the store, but you can change the world if you respect the Marco Polo principle. We exchange, commerce, help people to understand and relate to each other. And your mission is to bring the different cultures of the world, like these black moving objects next to the miniskirt woman, together and understand that they can enjoy the products and think that, all right, so let's make it clear. I'm American. I'm only interested in what is impossible, right? Things that are possible are boring. So what I'm telling you is very clear, that this is impossible, right? So please, let's do it. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. My pleasure. Thank you.